Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Dreams to Keys Realty YouTube and TikTok channels. Welcome on both platforms. As we go live, as we usually do, we are on both platforms again today. So I will introduce myself and Dreams to Keys Realty. So I am Jalon Strong, the Essential Millennial Realtor, and I am here representing Dreams to Keys Realty, which is a company that helps to provide residential property through representation for the sale or purchase or even rent to owning any residential property, particularly in the state of Georgia. I service Gwinnett, Fulton, and DeKalb counties currently. But if you are not in that county or not in the state of Georgia and you would like services, you are able to receive a referral from us to an agent that can represent you for what you are looking for. So if your location or the service that you need is not one that we provide, then we are more than welcome or able to provide you services to another agent or broker in your area that can provide the services that you need. So I will get started today with we've just introduced Dreams to Keys Realty, but welcome to our platforms. If you are on either platform, please hit the like button, subscribe if you are on TikTok, if you are on YouTube, and hit the notification bell so that you can receive notifications anytime we go live or we post any new content. You want to make sure that you know that you are connected to us when we are posting new information, so that anytime something that comes about that you're interested in real estate, or someone that you know could be interested in, that you have the opportunity to be informed of that and also share it. You can share this live and other videos to anyone that you would like who could benefit from the information that we are providing here. If you are on TikTok, welcome, 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 and thank you for joining. So I would love to see some likes. On TikTok, you can tap the screen so we can see hearts. So we would love to see hearts on TikTok. But today we are going to be talking about a few things related to understanding your rights, understanding fair housing rights. And I think it's important for anyone that's interested in real estate, home ownership, to know their rights so that you know what should and should not be happening. And our main point today will be focusing on discrimination, what should not be happening as it relates to discrimination, and what rights and legal standing are there currently out there for you for your protection. So before we get into that, we're going to do what we always do and cover our link in the bio highlight of the week. Today, it is Rent Reporters. So Rent Reporters is one of the affiliate links that we have in our link in the bio. And what they do is they help those of you that are making on-time rental payments make sure that it reflects on your credit score and credit report. So if you are someone that is paying your rent on time, you're currently renting and you're paying on time, and you've been doing that for some years, and even if it's recently that you've started doing that, you want to contact Rent Reporters by going to the link in our bio, and that will help you to get connected with them. Now, if you aren't aware, your on-time rental payments do not automatically go to your credit report or credit score. So Rent Reporters is doing a service that is not typically done, but it is beneficial for you if you need a credit boost or if you need just more reporting of your on-time payments for your credit report. So they do report to all three bureaus. So that is a plus. At one time when we first started with affiliation with them, they were only doing two, but they have expanded to all three credit bureaus. They also have a no regrets policy. So if you are using their services and after 7 days or within the 7 days of your first reporting, you are not happy with your services, you would want to contact them so that they can make sure that you get your refund. But they usually see about an average of a credit score increase of 40 points within 10 days after using their services. So if that is something of interest to you, if you are someone who is renting and would love a boost in your credit score, click the link in the bio. You can find it on our YouTube as well as on our TikTok pages or any of our social media pages for that matter. And also you can see it moving about at the bottom of the screen. So the link that says beacons.ai/Jalon Strong, you go to that link or click that link in the bio and you will scroll down. There is a tab that says Rent Reporters. Click there and that's how you get started. So if that's of interest to you, if a boost in your credit score would be beneficial to you, check that out. And we hope that you find it advantageous. Now, we're going to talk about our consultations. For many of you, you already know this, so this is a recap. But if you're new to us at Dreams to Keys Realty, we do have free consultations. This is a time where you can speak with me directly for at least, or at most, let's say, an hour. So if you are interested in buying, selling, or rent to owning a residential property, you want to click the link in the bio again and find the consultation tab. It says, let's chat. And that is a free consultation. However, if you decide to schedule it and not show up, there is a $15 no-show fee. So when you are scheduling, it will ask you information that would be needed to provide that $15 no-show fee if you don't show up. And one of the reasons that we do that is because we want to maximize reaching those who are really serious about the home ownership journey, and we don't want to take away opportunities from them. So if you're not serious or if you're not quite ready, then you are, of course, it's free. So you can cancel at any time prior to that, but make sure that you're not taking a spot or taking a time that you truly aren't going to show for. And that way we can make sure those that are serious about the journey right now can get those spots. So that is something that is also linked in the bio. It's free, but it has a $15 no-show fee. All right. And welcome on TikTok. I see more of you joining. Thank you for joining. If you don't mind tapping that screen so we can see some hearts as we're sharing knowledge about fair housing rights today. And if you're someone who's interested in purchasing a home, selling a home, or rent to owning a home, you may find this information helpful. And we love to see hearts and likes, especially on our platforms as we're going live. So also on YouTube, make sure that you give a thumbs up, subscribe, follow, and also share this content. Now, on the previous live that I did a couple weeks or about a week ago now, we talked about new products, and I wanted to show you all the new product in person on live. So we talked about our spiral journals and our hardcover journals that are available on our website right now. So if you go to our website, which is dtkrealty.com, which stands for Dreams to Keys Realty.com, but it's D as in dog, T as in Tom, K as in kite, realty.com. We have several products, ebooks, physical merchandise such as hoodies, t-shirts, and crew necks, but we recently started journals. So here is our spiral journal. It is still in the plastic, but this is our spiral journal. I'm showing TikTok right now, and then YouTube so you can see. So this is what it looks like in person. And the back is just plain back side. But if you are someone that feels like as you get into your New Year's resolutions, or just someone who just enjoys writing things down and you want your things in a certain place, let's say you have several dreams. They don't have to all be related to home ownership, but you want to put them down in a place that you know you can go back to and reference and hold yourself accountable. We do recommend our journals so that you can do that. There's also the hardcover journal, which is still in the plastic as well. So this is the hardcover, and I'll show YouTube. And the back is black so that you all can see these are actual physical products that you can have and you can order from our website, dtkrealty.com. So on the YouTube screen, you can see the prices. The spiral journal is $15 and the hardcover journal is $18. But we also introduced last week the baseball style shirts. So I'm going to actually show the image of that. Give me 1 second. So here on the YouTube screen, you can see the image of the baseball style shirt, which is $35. Our shirts across our website range from sizes of small to 3XL. So if you are interested in a baseball style shirt, make sure that you get that as well. It has the same phrase that it has on the journals, which is "My dreams have keys." If you're on TikTok and you would like to see what we're sharing right now and what we will be sharing later on, make sure that you go to the link in the bio and click our YouTube icon so that you can join over on YouTube and see everything that we present on the screen. But yes, that is still available on our website for a purchase of $35. And the journals that you've just seen are here as well. So now that we've covered that information, we're going to come off of those images and just talk about our topic for today, understanding fair housing rights. So there are several rights that are important that give legal standing on what should and should not be happening when it comes to the exchange of property, purchase, sale, transfer, or what have you of property. And so we're going to be talking about three mainly today. And like I mentioned before, we're talking about ways that you should not be discriminated against in the purchase, sale, or transfer of a property. And we're going to start with the Civil Rights Act of 1866. So for many of you that may already know and are well versed in U.S. history, this will not be a comprehensive history class or anything like that, but I would just like to point out these three acts and how they impact the housing market. These acts were not limited to their impact on the housing market. They impacted other things as well, such as their name suggests. But we're going to talk about how they impact the housing market and make it illegal for discrimination and how that progressed over time. So we're going to start with the Civil Rights Act of 1866. I'm actually going to present a document, so give me 1 second to get there. If you're on TikTok, you may want to go to the link in the bio and find our YouTube icon to come on over and see everything that I'll be presenting today. So let me get to that. And I just want to double check and make sure you all can see the screen. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, if I can. Okay, so this is a document that comes from the fairhousingjustice.org website. It is a PDF and it focuses on the Civil Rights Act of 1866. Like I mentioned, these acts that I'll be talking about today did not solely rest when it comes to housing. They affected other things, and they have different statements here, as you see, about statement of equal rights, just like the name Civil Rights Act suggests. So the intention was to make things more equal, which meant, as many of us know, based on history, that things were not equal. There was preference, or there was segregation or discrimination present, which is why these acts came about and were necessary to help to undo or eliminate or prevent that from recurring. So here with the Civil Rights Act of 1866, the reason why I bring this up when we're talking about fair housing rights is because it first addressed discrimination against color. And you see that in Section C, where it says protection against impairment. The rights protected by this section are protected against impairment by non-governmental discrimination and impairment under color of state law. So color is the primary focus of this act. And as you see, property rights of citizens, it says all citizens of the United States shall have the same right in every state and territory, as is enjoyed by white citizens thereof, to inherit, purchase, lease, sell, hold, and convey real and personal property. And we can talk about the difference between real and personal property in another live, but the focus of this live is to really highlight where discrimination was and how different legal steps were taken or acts were taken to become into law to prevent discrimination when it came to housing. So the Civil Rights Act of 1866 really highlighted that there was discrimination on color. And as the wording suggests, and as we know by history, the United States was a space of segregation in those times, and it was most notable in the South, but that did not absolve there to be some incidents in the north parts of the United States, northern parts of the United States. But it seemed that the nation was really in black and white. And there were so many things that as Black citizens, or even African American, or there were other terms that were considered racial slurs, but that group that I am a part of, there's certain things that we could not have. We didn't have access to. We were excluded out of. And so this act made it so that based on color, that discrimination could not legally occur for the property rights. So it allowed everyone to enjoy, as it says in this document, to enjoy the same rights when it came to property rights as in this document says white citizens. So this is the first act that I wanted to highlight because this is where it kind of all kicks off when it comes into property rights and the discrimination talk or prevention of discrimination. So that's our first one, the Civil Rights Act of 1866. Now we're going to move toward the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So I'm going to stop sharing for a minute so that I can get to the next one. But as the name suggests, it's similar to the previous act. That initial act was amended several times, and we're going to talk about some of the changes that came about with this next amendment. And this was not the next amendment after the last one, the one we talked about for 1866, but we're going to talk about what the 1964, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 helped to bring to light as well. So I'm going to share my screen again. Make sure I have the right one. Okay, and I'm going to just double check that you all can see my screen. It looks like you can. So this is the website. This comes from the website of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and this is their page on fair housing and related laws. So we're going to go down to the section that says Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So as I mentioned before, the Civil Rights Act of 1866 was the beginning of where we saw this conversation of preventing discrimination based on color when it came to property rights. Now that was amended several times. Once we get to Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, we see that it prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, and national origin in programs and activities receiving federal financial assistance, which many of us know is related to the housing market, as we have several federal programs that assist in that. So this is where we see more than just color. We see race and national origin come about. So we see our what we call protected classes or protected categories come into more of the conversation. So not only is it color, it has advanced at this stage from in 1964 to include race and national origin. And we know that that matters because many people that look like me that were in the United States at that time originated from another country and were brought here as enslaved people. So national origin makes a difference as well. And that did not limited to just the discussion that was primarily a black and white discussion, it became more of a broader discussion, as we know many people come to the United States from a wide variety of countries and places and origins. So the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 broadened the category, made the discrimination also more in your face of what should not be discriminated against. And thank you all for putting comments in the TikTok live. Make sure that you tap the screen so that we can see some hearts if you enjoy this type of content. So the primary focus of this live today is to let you know of ways that you should not experience discrimination, ways that someone should not be discriminating against you when you apply for a home, when you are selling or buying a home. These are the categories that, according to the law, you should not have any discrimination. And if you have some hints of anything like this, that you know that this is an illegal type of discrimination, and there are some routes that you can take to, of course, legal guidance to address that. So that is the Civil Rights Act of 1964, particularly Title VI. Now I'm going to stop sharing for that screen because we're about to talk about the next act, and this is the last act we'll talk about. And this does not mean that these are the only acts that affect the housing market or affect your rights, but I wanted to highlight these three because as we talk about going into next year, different topics, and I'm going to introduce in the live in next year of where we're planning to go as far as our lives and videos, but I wanted there to be a basis of what should and should not be happening. And also we'll talk about what we'll plan to do for next year with others coming on and discussing their perspectives as other real estate experts to talk about how these things are prevented, what should be happening, what questions you should be receiving or what questions you should not be receiving, and how certain questions can be discriminatory. So this is a plug that you want to like, follow, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you're on YouTube, because as we get into next year, it's going to get better and better here on this channel. So we plan to have things just that you couldn't imagine. So make sure that you are subscribed so that you don't miss any of that. But I'm going to present my screen now to talk about the Fair Housing Act. And that was mentioned a little bit on the previous screen, but I'm going to go to a different site so that we can see a little bit differently. And the site is the U.S. Department of Justice. And I just want to make sure everyone can see on YouTube. My screen looks like it. And the Civil Rights Division of the U.S. Department of Justice has this website for the Fair Housing Act. And you can see all of the links that I'm referring to in the description box on the YouTube channel. So once again, for TikTok, you want to go to the link in the bio, click the YouTube icon, and come on over so that you can see those links. But this is where we talk about the Fair Housing Act. So the Fair Housing Act took things to an even broader level. And so whereas we were just talking about color when it came to the Civil Rights Act of 1866, and then with the Civil Rights Act of 1964, we went to race, color, and national origin. The Fair Housing Act expanded all of that. So we not only have race or color, religion, sex or sexual orientation or identity, and national origin, familial status, or disability. So there are so many things that cannot be discriminated against when it comes to the fair housing. And that includes what we mentioned before, the purchase, the transfer, the sale of property. Also lending practices. So when you are talking with someone about receiving funding or lending for the purchase of a property, there cannot be discrimination on these classes for those practices as well. And you'll see in the description above, it says the Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination by direct providers of housing, such as landlords and real estate companies, as well as other entities such as municipalities, banks, or other lending institutions, and homeowners insurance companies whose discriminatory practices make housing unavailable to persons because of race or color, religion, sex, national origin, familial status, or disability. There have been some reports where there have been talks of, well, if I, as a African American, own a home that I would like to, or I'm owning a home that I would like to sell, and maybe if I have my neighbor who's of a different race come in and present the home and I take all of my pictures out, then there have been reports where there's more favorable responses to certain races with certain aspects of the housing practice, and those are illegal. So I just wanted you to know that it is illegal and where it all stems from and what acts impact that. Now, this is not an all-inclusive live. This is not one where we're going to cover every act, but these are sources that are linked here and that we're showing here, where if you're unsure, these are links that you can find with, as we've seen, the here is the U.S. Department of Justice. We've talked about the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. So there's so many places that have these referenced and should be upholding them within the housing sector, lending practices, banking, all of that. And this website, this site itself is very inclusive, and I won't read everything here, but it's very inclusive. So when we talk about the sex category, it does now include sexual orientation or identity. So even if you were born of a certain sex or gender, but you may be of a different identity now, that is included in the Fair Housing Act. So that is something to note. You can't discriminate, and no one should be discriminating against you for these categories, including sex or sexual identity. So make sure that you know this, especially if you're a landlord, you're wanting to buy or sell, or even rent to own. And if you feel that someone is asking you questions about certain things that you feel are discriminatory, let's say if you are talking to someone who represents a lender and they're asking you certain questions, clarify why these questions are being asked. Now, some things they may need to ask as age, because they have to make sure that you're of age to purchase, right? There are certain things that aren't in this act. But make sure that if you feel like there is a reason, or if you're not sure of the reason of why someone is asking a certain question that may appear discriminatory, ask them why they're asking those questions. And if it's something that maybe they're just asking for a survey to figure out who their client base is or who they're attracting to see, you know, sometimes different companies send out surveys and they may want to figure out who did they attract the most and where did the people that they are attracting come from, such as what website did they click, different things like that. If you're unsure, or if you feel uneasy about anything and you feel like it may be discriminatory, then get clarification from them. Also, you can always seek legal guidance and then ask them why they're asking before answering. That is an approach you can take. So I hope that this live today helps you to know what should and should not be happening when it comes to the housing sector. What discrimination should not be happening. These areas should not be happening. And also, there are other factors, especially when we talk about disability or things of that nature, where a landlord may have some obligations to make things more accessible. So that's a different topic as well. But we have to make sure that we're not discriminating, and we have to make sure that we're not being discriminated against. So, excuse me. So these are the areas that are protected legally under the Fair Housing Act. These are the areas where you have rights, and make sure that you are paying attention to your treatment. And if you feel that you're being treated unfairly, according to the law, you have some area to ask for recovery or rectification here. So I didn't want this to be a history lesson. I didn't want this to be too much reading or too inclusive, but I did want you all to know that you have rights and which acts impact your rights when it comes to the housing sector. I think a lot of people may not realize that the Civil Rights Acts did impact the housing sector and improved the ability to have property rights for many people. And if you look at history, there were people based on all of these areas that are now considered protected classes or different classes that cannot be discriminated against in this sector. And that's because prior to these acts, there was discrimination. And we want to make sure that we're operating in a way of ethical standing, abiding by the law, and that we are not discriminating against anyone, but especially not against the classes that are legal standing here in the Fair Housing Act. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully this is informative, and it's not a long live today, but that is the premise of just understanding your fair housing rights. How should someone be treating you when they're, inquiring of you for potential lending or financing options? How should someone be interacting with you when it comes to the purchase or sale? And if, let's say, you were looking to buy a home and you feel that the person that's selling the home has discriminated against you for the purchase of that home, but would sell it to someone else based on one of these discriminating factors, there could be some legal action that you could take. So just knowing your rights and knowing how to advocate for yourself, and of course, having those around you that know the law and will help you to see or help you to recognize when things are not quite equal and not up to the code of the law or the spirit of the law. So real estate experts, your agents, your brokers, your realtors, we have real estate attorneys and our lenders. Everyone is informed of the law and has practices in place to keep standardization so that everyone is treated fairly when it comes to just the practices that we have in the housing sector. So now I'm going to open up the floor for questions and answer Q&A section. So if you have any questions about this, please put them in the comment section. You can also, even if you're watching on the replay, you can put it in the comment section as well. We would love to reply to you. And even if you just want to say, yeah, I forgot about that act, or I forgot that it impacted housing, put that in the comments as well. We'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback there in the comment section. And we'll reply to it as we see those come through. And if you want to, you can also go to the links. They are linked in the YouTube description. So if you just want to check these websites out yourself, you can make sure to do that so you can see for yourself and spend some time reading. I know that this U.S. Department of Justice website may be a little bit long for me to read during a live, but if you want to spend some time and just dissect what each part of it really means and what it stands for, then take some time and read those links that are the website information that is linked in the description box. So I just want to remind everyone that we will be live. This will be our last live for this year, for 2024, but we will come back in 2025. When we do come back, we will start by sharing our goals. So the live before this, we talked about goal setting, SMART goals, things of that nature. And as a company, we will be sharing our goals to start off 2025. And we're going to break down what our plans are, not just for these platforms, but also for thank you for joining, Gray. So we are also going to share our plans for the platform. We're going to talk about how we're going to adjust things. We're making some tweaks. So if you want to stay in connection with us, make sure that you like this video, follow us on our platform, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification bell. Make sure that it says all if you want to check out everything that we're posting so that you are notified when we go live, when we post a new video, when any content comes up on our channel. And we have some great ideas and great things in play for next year. I'm going to take stop sharing my screen. But we have some great things coming along for next year. And I think if you are interested in purchasing a home in particular, you're definitely going to want to stay connected, because we're going to help walk you through how to start, and we're going to walk you through the steps of each process to get started. So let's say you are someone who maybe 2025 is not the year you think you want to buy a home, but you want to potentially buy a home at some point. Maybe you're planning for 2026. By the end of our journey in 2025, with the content that we have planned, you're going to be more than ready to start the journey to buy your first home or your next home. So we hope that you stay connected with us, follow us, give us a like. It really helps us stay in the algorithm when you are liking our videos, when you subscribe to our channels, because those that are interested in this type of content get to see us more and more. And we want to reach more people that are interested in the home ownership journey. Also, we want to make sure that our goals are met, and we'll talk more about our goals in the next live next year. But we want to see our subscriber count go up so that we can reach more people. We can get to do more things here on YouTube with you all, so we have more opportunities as we have more subscribers. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button. We would love to just stay connected with you all. We have content about various subjects already on our page here on YouTube or our channel. So make sure that you are just reviewing the things that we already have. We've covered so many topics, and we highlight them also in the beginning of each live so that you all can see various topics and see how they may be helpful for you. But if nothing else, I will leave you all. This is the last live for this year, and TikTok, this may be our last live in general. So make sure that if you're checking us out on TikTok, that you go to the link in the bio and follow us on our other social media platforms. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and we have one more coming up that we'll mention in the next live in 2025. But we'll see you all in 2025. If you're interested in any of our services, make sure that you go to the link in the bio and schedule those free consultations, which have a $15 no-show fee if you do not attend on the day that you schedule. So make sure that you're doing that, and we will see you all next year. We hope you have a happy holiday season and a great and happy new year. Bye-bye, everyone. We're going to remove these banners, and we will see you in the next live.